Hi everyone, I'm Brian Hageman with Deluge Technologies, and this presentation is prepared for the Water Infrastructure Finance Authority of Arizona based on our the request for information report that we provided to the Long-Term Water Augmentation Fund. This is a picture of something we thought we'd never see. The Hoover Dam was built nearly 90 years ago, and for 70 years it ran beautifully. We never expected the water levels to start dropping in Lake Mead like they have. And this report presentation today is to talk about the alternatives and new water sources that we'll need. Colorado River water is 36% of Arizona's water supply. The blue line here in the graph shows the level of Lake Mead at the Hoover Dam and its drawdown since the year 2000 to now 2023. It went up a little bit earlier this year because of the big snowpack we had last winter, but it's flattened off and starting to go back down. And we expect that line to continue down towards the trend line that shows the levels continuing to fall and will continue to fall, and eventually hit the dead pool 950 feet level, predicted possibly in 2025, but it could be in 26, 27. But this is 36% of Arizona's water supply that we need to augment. Groundwater pumping in Arizona is 41% of Arizona's water supply, and we've been over pumping groundwater in Arizona mainly since the 1940s, when a new technology came out, the turbine pump, electric motor turbine pump, that we've been pumping water out of aquifers quite a bit to the point where between 1900 and 1983, we pumped out 80 million acre feet of groundwater. Groundwater pumping in Arizona is something we have to do. That's a water source available to us, and we'll continue to use that. But over pumping needs to slow down. This is a cross section of what kind of the underground water reservoirs look like in Maricopa County. On the right side is the Superstition Mountains. The left side is the White Tank Mountains in Buckeye. And it shows the level of water, 3 levels of water. At the top level, that can flow. That water continues to flow. But the lower levels of water, and there's a lot of water down there, but those levels don't flow. Also on the left-hand side, it shows the Luke salt body, a huge, estimated at 15 to 30 cubic miles of a giant salt rock underground that, as water passes around it, over it, it picks up that salt and gets that water salty. All the aquifers in the Southwest United States, you can see they flow and they eventually will flow down to the Gulf. This map doesn't show the aquifers in Mexico, but they'll eventually go straight into the Gulf of California and drop all that water, whether it's good water or salty water, brackish water, into the Gulf of California. Arizona's water supply right now, 2023, on the top pie chart, shows that 36% comes from the Colorado River, 41% comes from groundwater. In the new pie chart to the left, we show Arizona's sustainable water supply with the proposed new infrastructure that we'll be talking about here in this presentation. It shows an increase of 20% desalination in that pie, and decrease of Colorado River water and groundwater of 10% each. We need a new major source of water, and desalination is the answer. This is an example of the groundwater lowering through overpumping of water, groundwater. In 2010, our company rented out what's called Teardrop Lake in Phoenix, just below the Sky Harbor Airport. And it was a beautiful place for us to test our floating solar panels that ran one of my water pumps using our hydraulic engine technology. We tested at this lake for a couple years, but now in 2022, in 2023, it's gone. That lake is gone. Basically, what that lake was exposed groundwater, where they had dug out for mining of the rocks there. But it's gone now, and even those small pools of water in the next few years will be completely gone too because of overpumping of groundwater. We need a new major source of water, and imported water from the Gulf of California is the answer. There's not a whole lot of other solutions. We need a huge new source of water, and the Gulf of California is the way. Our proposal will take saltwater pipelines up from the Gulf of California through Mexico up to Yuma, where our deluge desalting plant will be located, and a pipeline that will run up through Buckeye and up to the Central Arizona project. We propose to be trading water to Mexico. We'll give them one acre foot of purified water for every 20 acre feet of seawater that we get from Mexico. The seawater intake system and pipelines coming up from the Gulf will use the heliostat type solar thermal collection with solar thermal storage and pipeline and use that for pumping water through the pipeline up to the desalting plant in Yuma. Another major source of water for Phoenix and Phoenix metro area and the rest of Arizona could come from the existing Yuma desalting plant in Yuma. We propose a retrofit and repurposing of that plant. Right now, it's owned. It was built by the U.S. Department of Interior, their Bureau of Reclamation, and it's been on standby for over 30 years. Never operated at full capacity. They did some testing at 1/3 capacity for a year out of that 30 years. And this is for brackish water desalting. For brackish water from underground, they're pulling water from underground into the desalting plant. The picture at the left shows these huge electric motors and high pressure RO pumps that are required. The person standing there, you can see these things are gigantic electric motors that use up a ton of electricity. The full capacity of this plant is about 73 million gallons per day, 81,000 acre feet per year, and that could be repurposed and sent to Phoenix instead of what it's doing there on standby. We'll need hot water for our hydraulic engines, and that on this project, the Yuma desalting plant, is right next door to a power plant. Typically, that's the way desalination plants are built all over the world. They're put in right next door to a power plant because they use up so much electricity. But we can make hot water from the APS Yucca power plant from their waste heat, make hot water, send it over to our hydraulic engines at the Yuma desalting plant, and run that plant continuously with hot water from waste heat rather than hot water from solar. We propose building a pipeline, a 48-inch pipeline from Yuma to Phoenix. It would bring the water from the repurposed Yuma desalting plant that desalinates brackish water, and also water from the Deluge desalting plant that desalinates ocean water. And both of these can be fit into the 48-inch pipeline that would pump water up to the Phoenix metro area. While we're building the 5-year project of pipeline and projects in Yuma, we could start building the Arizona desalting stations right here in Maricopa County this year. These use the solar thermal collectors, the heliostat type collectors, and solar thermal storage that operates our hydraulic engines. And on each desalting station, kind of like gas stations, not on every corner, but our desalting stations will be spread out over the brackish water aquifers that are all around Maricopa County. Each desalting station will do 1 million gallons a day. That's about 1,100 acre feet per year. And we expect to build around 100 of these desalting stations over the future using our hydraulic engine technology here in Metro Phoenix area, but also in Tucson and Yuma and up in Holbrook. Each of the Arizona desalting stations has a dual desalting component, the main reverse osmosis desalination, and then also a distillation desalination where we pull out even more of the water out of the reject from the RO system and send back practically 98–99% clean water back to the cities. We do this with no outside electricity or fuels required. It's completely solar powered. And also that mud that ends up after the distillation, we turn that into salt blocks that are used in our thermal storage on all of our projects. The Buckeye Pipeline project that we propose would take 6 of our desalting stations in Buckeye and pump it north through the new residential areas in North Buckeye and then up to the Central Arizona project. This whole pipeline will be completely computerized for the community water tanks, keeping them topped off and metered with automatic valves to supplement groundwater pumping in North Buckeye. That will then send the surplus water up to the CAP, where we'll be wheeling water to other locations to augment their groundwater pumping. This facility will do 5 million gallons per day, and that's off of 5 of the 6 desalting stations. The 1 extra desalting station will be used for pumping water up through the pipeline. The Buckeye Pipeline will be a 10-inch pipeline that'll run through the riverbed, basically all the way from Buckeye up to North Buckeye and up to the Central Arizona project. It'll be located down near the dormant Arlington Volcano. You all knew there was a volcano there, right, just west of Buckeye. It's inactive, dormant, hasn't done anything in a few million years, but it's a neat location to work next to. To start the Arizona Desalting Stations project, we'd like to build a pilot plant, smaller, 1/4 of the size of the normal desalting station size. It'll be built in a 40-foot shipping container and delivered to a site where we'll have solar collectors and thermal storage, and we'll be producing water for enough for 500 homes, 250,000 gallons per day that will be desalting using brackish water, probably from the Buckeye area. Arizona's future depends on new sustainable water projects, not just for the growing population, but to help stop overpumping the groundwater and to return Lake Mead to normal levels. Thank you, everybody. Again, I'm Brian Hageman with Deluge Technologies. You could reach me at bhageman@delugeinc.com. Thank you very much for your time.